High above the swirling colors of a distant nebula, the Galactic Council gathered in its enormous crystal chamber. The room floated in space, shaped like a massive dome of light and energy. Representatives of 1,000 different species hovered in anti-gravity pods. Some were tall and armored, some were small and delicate, some shimmered like liquid glass, and others were more energy than matter. They had traveled from the farthest corners of the galaxy to be here, united by one purpose: deciding the fate of one tiny blue planet called Earth. For centuries, humans had lived quietly on their small planet, barely noticed by the wider galaxy. They had no mighty fleets, no superweapons, no centuries-old empires. Most species considered them insignificant, a primitive race that could be crushed in hours. Yet rumors had begun to spread. Humans survived disasters that would have destroyed whole civilizations. They fought with courage that seemed reckless, and somehow, they thrived despite every danger. "Shall we begin the vote?" The High Arbiter's voice echoed through the chamber, deep and cold. "The fate of Earth is in your hands." Pods activated one by one. Each species held a crystal in front of them. Red meant yes, they would enslave Earth. Green meant no, they would leave humans free. Silence filled the chamber as the first pods glowed. Red, another red, and another. One by one, the entire council voted to enslave humanity. Every pod glowed a deep fiery red. Not a single species chose mercy. Not a single voice spoke against the plan. The decision was unanimous. Earth's future was sealed by those who considered themselves the most advanced beings in the galaxy. For them, it was just another vote, another routine conquest. But for humans, it was a sentence written without their knowledge. Even as the decision was made, a small tremor of doubt passed through a few delegates. One emissary from a distant system leaned close to their pod and whispered to themselves, "They do not know what they are voting for." But the majority ignored the thought, confident in their power. Far below, on Earth, humans lived their ordinary lives. Unaware of the storm coming, children laughed in playgrounds. Farmers tended their fields, workers built cities and machines. No human knew that their very freedom had been debated by creatures who considered them weak. No one knew that the galaxy's mightiest races had decided to enslave them. The vote concluded, and the High Arbiter announced it to the Council. "Earth shall be taken," the voice boomed. "Its people shall serve the Council. Their planet will be ours to command." A cheer rose in the chamber, though it was hollow in its confidence. They believed the vote meant instant victory, a simple conquest. They did not yet know the humans they had condemned. They did not know that humans had a way of surviving impossible odds. They did not know that this small blue planet held a species with hearts braver than any army. And far away, in a shadowed corner of the chamber, a single emissary tapped their crystal quietly. They did not vote green, nor did they vote red. They only whispered, almost to themselves, "We may have underestimated them. One day, the humans will make us regret this choice." Outside the chamber, the stars continued to burn and the galaxy waited. No one could see what was coming. No one could imagine that the smallest, most overlooked species in the galaxy would soon rise and change everything. The Council had made its vote. Earth's doom seemed certain, but even in that moment, a faint spark of hope burned, a spark that would soon grow into a fire no alien could extinguish. The warning came too late for most humans. Across Earth, the skies turned dark as alien fleets appeared, larger and more numerous than anyone could imagine. Ships of every shape and size filled the atmosphere, black shadows against the blue sky. Their weapons fired without hesitation, striking cities with beams of light that turned buildings into ash and smoke. Humanity had been voted into slavery, and now the vote was enforced with fire. Yet even in the face of such terror, humans did not bow. They ran, yes, they ran to protect their families, but they also fought back. Farmers grabbed rifles. Engineers reprogrammed enemy drones. Teachers and students built barricades and traps. In every town, every city, humans defended what was theirs. Their weapons were small, their numbers limited, but their courage was boundless. Captain Leora Chen stood on the bridge of the Aegis, one of Earth's last orbital defense ships. The fleet trembled under the weight of incoming attacks. She looked out at the skies filled with alien warships and spoke to her crew in a calm but firm voice. "They think they can crush us. They think we are weak. They are wrong. Humans do not give up, not now, not ever." Her words were not empty. Across the planet, Humans used cunning and cleverness to turn the invaders' strength against them. Satellites became weapons. Underground tunnels became traps. Entire squadrons of alien ships were destroyed before they even knew what hit them. On the battlefields, ordinary humans became heroes. A mechanic from Ohio rerouted energy from a collapsing power plant to disable an alien battleship. A group of schoolchildren turned a flooded subway into a trap that immobilized enemy troops. People who had never held a weapon now fought with unmatched determination. They had no choice, they had to survive. For the invaders, the resistance was shocking. They had expected an easy conquest. A single vote enforced by fleets and the humans would surrender. Instead, they faced chaos, unpredictability, and courage they could not calculate. Their advanced technology failed against a species driven by heart and unity. Even more surprising, humans saved each other. Strangers risked their lives to pull wounded comrades from burning buildings. Citizens protected their neighbors even when escape was possible. They fought not just to survive, but to protect those they loved. Every act of bravery became a spark of hope, a signal to the galaxy that humanity would not be conquered. Some alien commanders began to whisper among themselves. "They are different," said one, a reptilian general with scarred scales. "We cannot break them. Every attack we make, it only strengthens their resolve." Far above, in the Galactic Council, news of humanity's unexpected resistance reached the delegates. The votes that had seemed so certain now trembled in their minds. The species that had unanimously agreed to enslave Earth now faced reports of devastating losses. Humiliation and disbelief rippled through the council. Back on Earth, as night fell over cities scarred by fire and battle, humans regrouped. They were tired, battered, and afraid, but not broken. Captain Leora Chen watched over the survivors from the bridge of her ship. "We are small," she said quietly, "but our spirit is greater than all of them. Let them come. We will show the galaxy what humans can do." And for the first time, somewhere among the stars, even the most arrogant aliens began to feel it. Respect. Perhaps even fear. The vote had been cast. The invasion had begun. But the humans of Earth were alive, and alive in a way that no alien fleet had ever faced before. The reports came faster than anyone expected. The Galactic Council, once united in its decision to enslave Earth, began to shake. Entire fleets had been destroyed. Alien soldiers captured or forced to retreat, and humans, ordinary, unarmed humans, continued to resist with a ferocity no one had predicted. The High Arbiter called an emergency meeting. The chamber, once filled with confident voices, was now heavy with doubt. Delegates hovered in their pods, some shaking, some silent, some staring at their consoles with disbelief. "Humans are different," admitted one reptilian delegate, her claws trembling over her console. "They are small, unorganized, and yet they fight like nothing we have ever faced. Entire divisions are lost to them. They adapt faster than we can predict." "They are reckless," countered another, a being of shimmering gas that moved like liquid. "Their fleets are primitive. They cannot possibly hold out for long. This is inconvenient, but not impossible." The reports told a different story. Ambushes, clever traps, unexpected alliances between humans and even neutral species. Everything pointed to one thing. Humans were stronger than the galaxy believed. Their courage inspired even those who were not human, and their determination seemed limitless. A scout ship, captured by humans, had been sent back to the council. Its exterior was scratched and battered, yet the crew inside had returned unharmed. On the ship's message terminal there was only one warning: "We do not bow. We do not surrender. Respect us or you will pay." A hush fell over the chamber. Silence filled the space between the delegates. The vote to enslave Earth, once confident and unanimous, now seemed foolish. The galaxy's most powerful species had misjudged the humans, underestimated them, and now faced the consequences. The vote was a mistake," whispered an elder from a species older than most stars. "We underestimated them. We thought we could crush them. We were wrong. Every decision we made has been ignored by them. They survive, and they grow stronger with every attack we make." Fear began to spread like wildfire. It was not fear of defeat alone. It was fear of the unknown, fear of a species that no one could predict, fear of a planet whose courage had become a legend overnight. Delegates who had once celebrated humanity's subjugation now debated in quiet tones, unsure if the vote could be reversed. Some even dared to speak aloud. "Perhaps we should negotiate," one said, voice trembling. "Perhaps we should reconsider our position before more fleets are lost. These humans, they are not like any other species we have faced." Others scoffed, clinging to pride. "We cannot bow to a species that is supposed to be weak," they argued. "We are the Council. We are the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy, and yet our power means nothing against humans. Every plan fails. Every attack fails. How is this possible?" For the first time in the history of the galaxy, the Council was divided. A species that had once been confident, united, and arrogant was now unsure, fearful, and full of doubt. They had voted to enslave Earth, and now they were confronted with a reality they could not control. Outside, across the stars, humans continued their fight. They did not know the Council was divided, nor did they care. They fought because it was right, because their families were in danger, and because they refused to be conquered. Somewhere in the Council chamber, a single voice murmured almost to itself, "We may have underestimated them. One day these humans will not just survive. They will change everything." And in that moment, the galaxy realized a terrible truth. Humanity was not just a species to be conquered. Humanity was a force no one could predict, and no one could ignore. Humanity had been pushed to the edge, but they did not break. Across Earth, from burning cities to frozen tundras, humans adapted faster than any alien could predict. Ordinary people became warriors. Engineers reprogrammed alien ships. Farmers built weapons from scrap. Teachers and students turned underground tunnels into traps. Every setback became a lesson, every loss a motivation. Captain Leora Chen led a small squadron on a daring mission. Their goal, the command ship of the alien fleet orbiting Earth. It was a suicide mission, and everyone knew it. Yet the humans were fearless. They had seen too many friends die to run now. Leora's crew tightened their grips on the controls, hearts pounding, knowing that failure meant total destruction. As they approached the command ship, Leora whispered, "We are small, but we are strong. We are fewer, but we are smarter. Let them see what humans can do." Her voice was calm, but inside her chest burned with adrenaline. The mission began. Humans darted through the enemy fleet like shadows. They avoided patrols, hacked communications, and disabled the ship's shields from within. One by one, alien ships fell to their strategy, not brute force. The command ship, the symbol of the fleet's power, was vulnerable now. Leora's crew struck with precision, planting devices that would render it inoperable. Across Earth, the battle raged. Humans on the ground led ambushes, sabotaged supply lines, and saved one another from certain death. Every city that had fallen was retaken, every outpost reclaimed. Human ingenuity and courage were unstoppable. Their enemies had never fought a species like this, one that turned desperation into a weapon and fear into fuel. Reports from the battlefield reached the Galactic Council, and panic spread like wildfire. Entire fleets had been destroyed, entire divisions scattered, and still humans kept fighting. The vote that had once seemed so certain, the vote to enslave Earth, now looked like a grave mistake. Some delegates even whispered that perhaps the humans were not meant to be ruled at all. "They are extraordinary," admitted a reptilian commander, his voice trembling as he watched human forces repel another assault. "Every move they make, it is unexpected. We cannot control them. We cannot defeat them." Humans were not perfect, and many paid the ultimate price. Cities burned, families were lost, and heroes fell on every battlefield. Yet with every loss, humans adapted, learned, and pressed forward. Their courage inspired even neutral systems to watch in awe. Some quietly sent supplies, others covertly shared intelligence. The galaxy could not ignore humanity's rising legend. Leora Chen's squadron succeeded. The alien command ship was destroyed, its fleets thrown into chaos. Across the skies of Earth, humans cheered in small moments of victory. It was not a celebration of war, but a celebration of survival, of hope, and of the unbroken human spirit. For the first time, the tides of war had turned. The invaders no longer commanded fear. They felt it, and in distant council chambers, uncertainty turned into worry. The vote to enslave Earth had unleashed something no one could predict: humans who refused to be ruled. From the ashes of destruction, a new truth emerged. Earth had survived the impossible. Humans had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious in spirit, if not in full power. And across the galaxy, whispers began. This small species, underestimated for centuries, might not just survive, they might change everything. Captain Leora Chen looked at the burning horizon of her planet and spoke softly to her crew. We are not alone in this fight. We are humans, and that is enough. The galaxy had begun to notice. The humans of Earth were no longer a species to conquer. They were a force to respect, to fear, and perhaps one day to admire. The Galactic Council had never known fear like this. Once they had ruled with absolute confidence, casting votes and commanding fleets without question. But now the vote to enslave Earth, the vote they had celebrated, had become a nightmare. Reports arrived hourly, fleets destroyed, supply lines cut, entire planetary colonies lost. And always humans survived. They adapted, they fought, and they inspired hope in one another. The High Arbiter called the Council together again, the chamber vibrating with tension. Delegates hovered in their pods, claws shaking, energy flickering, and whispers filling the space. Pride, arrogance, and certainty had been replaced by confusion and fear. Perhaps we underestimated them, admitted a reptilian delegate, her voice shaking. Every strategy we have tried has failed. Every weapon we deployed, every plan we executed, has been turned against us. They survive everything. Survive, hissed a shimmering gas being. They do not just survive, they grow stronger. Every attack we make only strengthens them. And worse, they do not hate us. They fight, yes, but they fight with honor, with heart. It is impossible to crush them without destroying ourselves in the process. The Council trembled. They had expected to enslave Earth easily. Their vote had been unanimous. And yet here they were, powerless against a species they had dismissed. For the first time in galactic history, the strongest civilizations begged for mercy. It cannot be, murmured an elder being, older than many stars, his voice soft and trembling. We must not beg. We are the Council. We are mighty, and yet our fleets fall. Our decisions fail. And they, the humans, stand strong. The words hung in the chamber. Silence followed. Even the High Arbiter, the voice of authority across the galaxy, paused, unsure of what to do. The vote to enslave Earth, meant to show dominance, had become the Council's greatest embarrassment. Finally, a voice broke the quiet. It was from the oldest species in the galaxy, a race that had seen the rise and fall of countless civilizations. We ask for mercy. We ask for negotiation. We cannot continue this war, humanity. They are not ours to enslave. They are beyond our reckoning. If we continue, we will destroy ourselves. Shock spread across the chamber. No one had ever heard the Council ask for mercy, to beg. And yet every delegate knew the truth. The humans had forced them into this position. A species that had been dismissed, overlooked, and underestimated had become a legend. Outside, across the galaxy, humans fought unaware of the Council's desperation. They did not know that their courage had shattered the pride of 1,000 civilizations. They only knew what mattered to them, protecting their families, their friends, their home. But the humans' reputation had begun to grow. Stories spread across systems of cities defended by ordinary men and women, fleets destroyed by clever tactics, and a species that refused to bow, refused to surrender, refused to be broken. Humanity's name became both feared and admired. The Council continued to debate, but now it was not about strategy or conquest. It was about survival. Entire civilizations realized that continuing the war against humans could mean their own destruction. And the species that had once voted with confidence now found themselves humbling themselves before the smallest planet in the galaxy. For the first time, the galaxy understood something profound. The humans of Earth were not just fighters. They were survivors, innovators, and protectors. They were courageous, honorable, and merciful. And the strongest civilizations, who had laughed at their insignificance, now bowed in fear and respect. Captain Leora Chen, far below on Earth, had no knowledge of the Council's panic. She stood with her crew, looking at the horizon, knowing only that humanity had survived another day. Yet unknowingly, every human act of bravery, every sacrifice, every spark of courage had reached across the stars. And slowly, inexorably, it was reshaping the galaxy's understanding of strength. The Council begged, but the humans did not yet hear. They fought as they always had. But soon the moment would come when the galaxy would see not just humans surviving, but humans deciding the fate of the very beings who had tried to enslave them. The messages from the Galactic Council arrived on Earth like thunder through the stars. Ships of every species that had once threatened humanity were now asking for mercy. Entire civilizations trembling and humiliated pleaded for negotiation. For centuries, the Council had ignored humans. For centuries, they had dismissed them as weak, primitive, and unworthy. Now, after their fleets had been destroyed and their pride shattered, they begged. Captain Leora Chen stood before the leaders of Earth's United Command. Her eyes, fierce but kind, scanned the room. "They come asking mercy," she said. "For centuries they laughed at us. They voted to enslave us. Entire fleets came to crush us, and now they kneel before us." A hush fell over the room. The weight of the decision pressed on every human present. They could destroy the Council completely. They could erase centuries of arrogance and cruelty with the power they now held. And yet the humans who had survived such impossible odds did not feel hatred. They felt clarity. They understood what made them human: courage, honor, and mercy. Leora continued, her voice steady. "We do not need revenge. We fight to protect our families, our planet, and each other. We do not fight to enslave or to humiliate. If we act with cruelty, we will become what we fought against, and that we will never be." The leaders nodded, understanding the truth in her words. Humanity had survived because they were not only strong, they were united, compassionate, and wise. Every battle had taught them the same lesson. Power without honor was meaningless, and courage was measured not by destruction, but by protection. A human envoy drafted the response that would echo across the galaxy. "You may live. You may go, but never underestimate humanity again. Treat us with respect. Value life. Protect your own as we protect ours. Fail to do so, and you will face the consequences of your actions." The message was sent. Every species in the Council, from the oldest to the youngest, read it with disbelief. Humans could have crushed them. They could have taken revenge for every ship destroyed, every city burned, every life lost. But instead, humanity showed restraint, honor, and mercy, the very qualities that had made them impossible to defeat. Across the galaxy, the message spread. It was not a threat filled with hate, but a warning filled with principle. Humans had survived the impossible, and now their survival became a legend. They had proven that true strength was not in weapons or fleets, but in the courage to fight, the heart to protect, and the wisdom to show mercy even when it was deserved. On Earth, Captain Leora Chen looked out at the horizon, where the alien fleets had retreated. The sky was still scarred by battle, and the losses were many, but humanity had endured. Children played in the ruins of cities, engineers rebuilt, and ordinary people continued life with a quiet determination. They had faced annihilation and emerged not only alive, but honorable. And somewhere across the stars, the Council learned the most important lesson of all. Humans were not a species to control. Humans were not a species to underestimate. Humanity's choice, mercy instead of revenge, would echo for generations. The galaxy had seen the humans of Earth survive the impossible, fight the unstoppable, and now act with compassion where cruelty would have been easy. Humanity did not just survive. They had chosen the path that made them heroes in the eyes of the universe. Leora whispered to herself, watching the stars beyond the horizon. "We are humans. And that is enough." Years had passed since the Galactic Council had voted to enslave Earth. The memory of that fateful decision lingered in the minds of every species, a warning that arrogance could never overcome courage. Humanity had not only survived, they had rewritten the rules of the galaxy. They had shown that unity, intelligence, and heart could defeat even the most powerful forces. Across countless star systems, humans were no longer seen as primitive. Statues and monuments were erected in their honor, not only on Earth but on worlds they had never visited. Children of many species grew up learning the stories of human bravery, the farmers who turned traps against alien armies, the engineers who hacked fleets, the ordinary men and women who refused to surrender. Every tale carried the same message. Humans were unstoppable when united and merciful when victorious. Captain Leora Chen had become a symbol, a legend whose courage inspired generations. Her name was whispered across the stars, a reminder that even in the darkest hours, determination and honor could shine brighter than any weapon. Yet Leora never sought glory. She continued to guide Earth's people, rebuilding what had been lost, teaching them that true strength was not in conquest, but in courage, unity, and mercy. The Galactic Council had learned their lesson. No species dared to attack humanity again. They negotiated treaties instead of wars, offered alliances instead of threats, and studied humans with awe rather than disdain. The vote to enslave Earth, once a moment of arrogance, had become a cautionary tale of pride humbled by courage. Even in the farthest reaches of the galaxy, the legend of Earth's humans grew. Their victories were remembered not for destruction, but for the courage, cleverness, and honor with which they fought. Humans were not perfect. They had suffered losses, mourned friends, and faced moments of fear. But in every act they proved something greater, that strength without heart was meaningless and courage without compassion was incomplete. Humanity's influence spread beyond war. Other species began to emulate the qualities that had made humans legendary. They learned to value unity, to act with honor, and to protect the innocent. In a galaxy once ruled by fear and conquest, the human example became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even the smallest species could change everything. On Earth, the skies were calmer now. Cities rebuilt, forests regrew, and the oceans healed. Children played freely under the sun, unaware of the battles that had raged above them, yet inheriting the courage of those who had fought. Humanity's legacy was not just in victory. It was in the spirit that had carried them through impossible odds, and in the mercy they had shown to those who had once sought to destroy them. Captain Leora Chen stood on a cliff overlooking the ocean, feeling the wind on her face. She remembered the Council's fear, the alien fleets, the moments of doubt, and the cries of her people, and yet she smiled. Humanity had survived, yes, but more importantly, they had endured with honor. They had chosen mercy over revenge, courage over fear, and unity over division. And across the galaxy, every species learned the same lesson. Humans could not be underestimated. Humans could not be crushed. Humans had proven that one small, overlooked planet could shape the destiny of the stars. The galaxy had once voted to enslave Earth, and the vote had failed. Humanity had not only survived, they had become the heart of the galaxy, a symbol of hope, courage, and mercy. And in that truth, every species, no matter how mighty, finally understood the greatest power of all, the human spirit. Leora whispered to the horizon, her voice carrying across the wind and waves, "We are humans, and that will never be forgotten."